in any partnership, someone must lead and someone must support. If we're both the same, I think Coleman would not be where we are today.
It's the year 2000 and Nigeria is on the edge of transformation. Growing faster than its factories could build, the demand for wires and cables surged, and in that moment of growth, a new chapter was set in motion. This was the defining moment, the transfer of vision from one generation to the next. At Coleman Wires and Cables, this transition would spark an evolution, but not without first confronting hard truths. Cash flow was tight. Working capital barely covered supplier payments and payroll. Machinery was aging, processes were informal, and efficiency was inconsistent. In 2001, Dr. Solomon Onofowokan made a pivotal decision. After 26 years of building Coleman into a household name in electrical materials, he began implementing a structured succession plan, preparing his sons to carry forward what he had started. By 2002, George Onofowokan stepped into the role of Managing Director, bringing new energy and a fresh vision. Soon after, his brother, Engineer Michael Onofowokan, joined as Executive Director, adding deep technical expertise to the company's leadership. Taking over from a founding father meant more than inheriting a business. It meant assuming a legacy. It meant proving yourself worthy while charting your own course, and perhaps most delicately of all, earning the trust of a team that had only known one leader.
I'm George Onofowokan, MD CEO, Coleman Technical Industries Limited, manufacturers of Coleman wires and cables. As of that time, Coleman was not in the best of shape. And then later on, invariably, I got approached to come and take over the business as the MD. And I have to give it to the chairman. I think he looked at my entrepreneurship as my CV and the amount of business we've done between ourselves, and looking at the opportunities that if I could take on the edict, I'll call it, of Coleman at the time. But I'll give him kudos because his approach was straightforward. And he asked this opportunity that he wanted me to take over as Coleman's MD. But at that time, I knew the problems they had, the financial issues, the negative position the company was. So his approach was to ask. And sincerely, he didn't push. He asked, and I looked at it. And the way he asked was also astonishing. He believed. He said, look, the straightforward question was, can I become the MD? And the next point was that if I could, please take over the business. After discussing terms and conditions, he had to add the top end, which really I think is, I still don't understand it. I didn't understand it at the time, but later on I really understood it. The last part of his request and the statement of his request was, I believe you can solve the problem, because I know now you've seen the problems at Coleman, but I have no money to give you. And I'm thinking to myself, why would this man not want to fund a negative position? And I believe he had the money. But in hindsight, I think he did me a favor, because if he had given me money to restart, to recapitalize the working capital at that moment, would we be where we are today? I don't think so. It was a challenge that was needed to actually, for me, bring out the best in what I could do. And so out of every business he had, I became the only successor that inherited a business that had no money. And then the chairman was not ready to fund the money. So invariably it meant I had to find working capital, which meant going out, convincing the distributors in those days to give us funds in advance, to use that fund as working capital to buy raw materials to feed them. And that became the way we restarted the company itself, and systematically over time turned it around by paying off those debts. It's a joke now when chairman and says, MD, I should call you the man that sees tomorrow.
The year 2007 posed a defining challenge for the Onofowokan brothers. Coleman's Idemu factory had reached full capacity and expansion was no longer possible. Fortunately, in line with Dr. Solomon Onofowokan's succession plan, he was ready for his sons to buy him out, a move that allowed them to secure the financing needed for a new chapter. Driven by George's determination and his vision to position Coleman as Africa's largest cable manufacturer, construction of the Arapo facility began, a factory 10 times larger than the one at Idemu. It became a landmark that redefined Coleman's future, a clear signal that the next generation carried both the vision and the courage to build something greater.
My name is Michael Onofowokan. I'm the Executive Director of Coleman Wires and Cables. I'm in charge of production, quality, and technical. So over the years, we've engaged technology in two key areas. One is process technology, and the second is quality assurance and quality management. In those areas, we've taken things that machines can do more efficiently, such as ensuring standards are maintained in terms of key dimensions of cables and parameters are specified by the standards, and incorporated that into the manufacturing of the machines so that the machines are able to self-monitor, self-regulate to ensure that those standards are enforced. That enables you to get products that are consistent in quality, consistent in dimensions, and able to replicate those products efficiently and effectively. And that has helped us over the years to scale up the business. And now we are at the fore, we are the biggest in the country and in the sub-region because of these advantages that we've taken through technology.
In December 2014, Coleman achieved a historic milestone: the inauguration of West Africa's first medium and high voltage cable manufacturing facility in Shagamu, Ogun State. This facility positioned Nigeria as the 5th African country with the capacity to produce these specialized cables, reducing dependence on imports and establishing Coleman as an industry pioneer. For George and Michael, this wasn't just expansion. It was about raising the bar for what was possible in Nigerian manufacturing. But just as the company reached new heights, the winds shifted. In 2016, the Naira faced a sharp devaluation. Costs soared, and industries across Nigeria struggled to stay afloat. For Coleman, it was a test of endurance. Yet in the face of economic uncertainty, the vision held firm: to build locally and keep the lights on when others dimmed. Under George's leadership and Michael's support, the company found its balance. His discipline, clarity of vision, and insistence on integrity became the guiding compass. And just as a sense of stability returned, a new challenge emerged. The world stood still as COVID-19 struck.
During COVID, we invested significantly in 2 plants. And at the time, we didn't know that it was going to be as difficult as it was, that it eventually turned out to be. We had invested so much money in machinery and in infrastructure. The machines had arrived. I mean, this was borrowed money, and we were paying interest rates both on the dollar side and on the Naira side. And we had these machines, we were looking at them. We were calling China, the engineers said, "Oh, no, come Nigeria, we can't come." "Why can't you come?" "Oh, COVID." And they felt Africa was going to bear the full brunt of COVID at the time. So I sat down with my team, and then we said to ourselves, look, we don't need to wait for these guys. Why don't we just see what we can do, get a few, get as much information from them as we can, and let's give it a go. And we started. We completed our Shagamu 2 fully by ourselves. Machines were installed, machines were commissioned with 100% the Nigerian workforce or the Coleman team.
From its modest beginnings in Idimu, the company's vision soon surpassed its first site, evolving from a 200 square meter workspace to a 2,000 square meter facility in the same area, before making a major leap to a 20,000 square meter plant in Arapo, marking its entry into large-scale manufacturing, which then expanded to 40,000 square meters. By 2014, the Shagamu plant, spanning nearly 400,000 square meters, had introduced Nigeria's first medium and high-voltage cable production line. A year later, in 2015, Arapo 2 was commissioned, expanding Coleman's manufacturing footprint. Then in 2022, Arapo 3, the fiber optic plant, took shape. With the later development of Shagamu 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Coleman now commands one of the largest purpose-built cable manufacturing sites in Africa, a testament to vision, reinvestment, and scale. All of this leap from small beginnings to a 400,000 square meter facility happened in less than 15 years.
So, joining Coleman was by invitation, but I think I knew Coleman a while back, but I worked in Advan as an executive director and I was managing Coleman campus. And from there, I knew that the company had the potentials for growth. And the fact that when I met them, they were going to really whereby they were trying to manage the growth. And in Nigeria, with indigenous companies, quite a lot of issues, a lot of change of policy for exchange rates. So yes, they had the problems, right? But the good thing about this company is the fact that when you look at when we're managing their accounts, you can relate them to the fact that all the money started from the funds, what kind of industry, the commercial banks were actually used for the purpose that it was created. It's very unusual.
I said I've been on the board now for about 5 years and I've seen the growth. And the growth of this company has been phenomenal. And the landscape for future growth, very, very wide. When you think that Nigeria is said to have a deficit in housing of about 20 million housing units, that translates to a lot of cables. So within the Nigerian context alone, the prospects are very bright. When you translate that into Africa, it is even brighter. Honestly, I feel that the scope is very, very wide. And this company is going to more places.
For me, understanding our strengths, understanding our roles, and on knowing that your role in the organization and doing it as best as possible has served us very well in getting us to where we are today. MD and CEO, he's my brother first, to be honest. We've been together a long time. We started this journey in 2001. But his leadership skills stood out, and by understanding what his role is, my role was to enable him to thrive in his role, while also maintaining my position and working in line with the core function that my position protects. And I think that has served us well over the years to get us to where we are. It's seen us grow from where we started from in 2001 to where Coleman is today.
I think really rightly said. In any partnership, really, the fundamental part of, just like my brother said, is understanding what each person is there to do. And understanding that, we're all not the same. And in any business, in any partnership, someone must lead and someone must support. Both of you cannot be having the same thought type process. We can't both be fiery and we can't both be cool. If we're both the same, I think Coleman will not be where we are today. It's a partnership that I think in life, it's a very important thing to have a balance. He's my brother, but he's my balance. You know, I am fiery. I think my brother knows that. I'm seeing things sometimes that even me, I cannot imagine that it's plausible. But it's having the balance of someone that is capable of, whether they see it, they don't see it, they're there to be the pillar to push and support wherever you're going, which is how, for us, it has been a success story.
The Onofowokan family's story and their successful transition from founder to second generation represents something rare and valuable in business: continuity with innovation and a respect for history alongside vision for the future. Dr. Solomon's 24-year succession plan stands as a model of thoughtful leadership transition, creating space for new ideas while preserving core values. Through strategic expansion, product innovation, and technical advancement, the Onofowokan brothers duo have honored their father's legacy while boldly writing new chapters, reshaping it for a new era. But Coleman's story extends far beyond its factory walls. Its cables now run through homes, cities, and the veins of a nation's development, empowering progress, connection, and possibility.
So for me, I sell vision to him and the team rather than drive vision without understanding, because you can't carry your vision on your own.
I love Coleman in one thing, is that the success of one person is the success of everybody.
MD keeps telling us then that this is where I am going. And when you look at those dreams, they're actually tall dreams that some of us will even query him. Even behind him, some of us will make a mockery and say, how can you be setting this kind of goal for yourself?
They will come down and say, MD, do 90 mm instead of 100 mm so that they will make more profit. MD said, no, I cannot do it.
You know, by God's grace, our chairman is an accountant. Fortunately also, the MD is an accountant, stroke, finance person, stroke, and engineer. Now, me too being an accountant, that means I'm in a safe hands.